Okay, everyone. Um, I have tried to record this one 3 times, and I keep goofing up along the way. So I'm starting over. This is getting to be a bit frustrating and funny. But I want to talk today about um, the SAT essay and what I call mapping of the source text. The previous videos have more to do with outlining an actual essay or how the grading process works, what the requirements of the essay are, that sort of thing. This is going to start to break down the process that can lead you to what I would consider and most consider a proficient score. Now, in this essay test for the SAT, you're graded on the raw system by 2 judges, and each judge will give you a score of 1 through 4. And so your total potential score is 12 times 2, would be 24 total points. Proficiency is in each area rated as 3. So when you do the math there, a score between the 2 judges of 18 out of 24 would be a proficient score. Anything above that, any of the 4s, would be considered mastery in that area. We want to shoot at least for that 18. And the good news is there's kind of a process or an equation that you can follow that can get you there. Now, the purpose of this essay, or the prompt itself, what we have to understand here is to um, analyze a source text, a piece of literature. It's sometimes a speech, it's sometimes an article. The authors are often, famous people, former presidents, speakers. They could be just, authors that, were not as famous either, but they're going to provide some sort of source text, and your job is to analyze the source text and determine its success in terms of persuasion. And so when you look at the prompt itself, analyzing a source text to determine whether it's not whether it was successful, but where the success is at in the source text. It really requires of a student the ability to understand persuasion. So, you have strong writing skills right there that you are demonstrating because you understand persuasion, what makes something successfully persuasive. And then it also goes back and it grades through how you communicate that in your writing skills. So your essay, do you have proper development, paragraph development, your thesis statements, your topic sentences, your organization, your conventions, and you're going to receive that analysis score too. That comes down to here. But then you also are graded somewhat on your reading comprehension, your ability to read the source text. If you cannot understand the source text first, you're not going to be able to identify where the success is in the source text. And so it is a very good prompt to assess your skills in these 3 areas, but it's also a different type of prompt and a very difficult prompt for some students. Okay, so the mapping. Where does the mapping take place? Well, after you read the source text, you're going to be provided that piece of literature to read. There's a little box in which they provide you 3 areas to focus on in terms of persuasive elements. The first one deals with evidence and examples. Reasoning is the second one. And then what they call stylistic or persuasive elements. And so this could be word choice, vocabulary, strong use of vocabulary. You may dive into your knowledge of paragraph development, and if you think some kind of um, organization factor played a role in terms of persuasion, you could it would fall under that category a little bit. And I think any other um, stylistic or persuasive element that you can make an argument for would fall into place here, and it would be fine. And so these three things are going to play a huge role in your analysis score. How did you analyze that source text and be able to prove it? Well, when you read through the source text, what I tell students the first time through, now this is a timed test, you have 50 minutes to do it. Um, you're going to have to you're going to have to identify where these things are at right away, the first time through, because you're not going to have enough time when you have to draft your own essay to go back and reread it. So as you're reading through the source text the first time, anytime you see evidence or example, just make a little annotation on that paper. You're allowed to write on it. Say, maybe even have some abbreviations that work for you. Evidence, E and E, something like that, and then just make a little underline there. Is this the author's using reasoning to support his argument or her argument? You can put an R there. Then later on, when you go back and it's time to start drafting, now this is all one process. The reading of the source text, the mapping, and the writing. You have 50 minutes to do all of that. You're going to have all of that information ready to start developing your paper. And so this mapping portion, we want to be able to break down and get going in, the stronger reader you are, the faster you're going to be able to get through the source text. But if you have 50 minutes, I would say you don't want to spend more than 15 minutes, and that might be a lot, reading through the source text and labeling or identifying all of these examples, at least enough that you could support a paper, an essay, because then that's going to leave you with, a 35-minute time frame now to start drafting your thesis and all of your supporting paragraphs. So mapping refers to identifying these three elements in the source text.